अच्छा था, बहुत अच्छी बातें हुई, बहुत कुछ सीखने को भी मिला। थोड़ा बहुत जो मिसकंसेप्शन है लोगों के दिमाग में वो भी थोड़ा होपफुली क्लियर हो जाएगा कि अल्टीमेटली सिनेमा क्या है। सिनेमा मनोरंजन का एक जरिया है और इसको ज़्यादा आप सीरियसली नहीं लेना चाहिए। अच्छी फिल्में बनती है, बुरी फिल्में बनती है, हिट फिल्में बनती है, फ्लॉप फिल्में बनती है, लेकिन हमें सिनेमा जाके फिल्में देखनी चाहिए, ना कि मोबाइल पे या लैपटॉप पे देखनी चाहिए।
Sajid, in the interaction you were talking about film distribution. Hi, how are you?
I'm sorry.
You were talking about film distribution and promotion. So you know, down south there is a film called Spider releasing, जहाँ पे वहाँ पे ट्रेंड है कि तुम ट्रेलर 2 वीक पहले ही रिलीज करो, and you don't show much in terms of songs as well. So do you think in Bollywood they overemphasize promotional aspect?
I don't think that's true. I think today you need to have awareness because there are so many other things you're fighting with. You're fighting with cricket, you're fighting with football, you're fighting with kabaddi, you're fighting with stand-up comedy, you're fighting with concerts, you're fighting with Hollywood. So you need to spread as much awareness as you can about your film, and that's a fact. जितना awareness होगा उतना लोगों को पता चलेगा उनको देखनी या नहीं देखनी. But at the end of the day, all awareness is zero. If the trailer of the film is liked, people will go and watch the movie. If it's not liked, people will not watch the movie.
साजिद सर, जैसे कि पहले जैसे मूवी बनती थी, हम उनके डायलॉग, उनके सॉन्ग्स और उनके जो भी एक स्पॉट जो रहता था वो याद रखते थे, लेकिन अभी जिस तरह की मूवी बन रही है उसे हम याद रख नहीं पाते, वो जहन में रहता नहीं है, लोग जल्दी भूल जाते हैं। क्या उस पर भी डिस्कशन होना चाहिए?
नहीं, उस पर डिस्कशन नहीं होना चाहिए। तो आपको ऐसा कुछ करना पड़ेगा जो आपको लोगों को याद करने को मजबूर करे। कटप्पा के डायलॉग लोगों को याद है। अभी छोटी छोटी चीज़ें होती है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल छोटा मुँह बड़ी बात, बट मेरी फिल्म का आप ले लीजिए, बच्चा अभी तक करता ही है। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं, आपको कुछ ना कुछ करना पड़ता है जो फिल्म में। बट आप फिल्म किसके लिए बना रहे हो? फिल्म इसलिए बना रहे हो ताकि लोग उसके डायलॉग याद रखें, या फिल्म इसलिए बना रहे हो कि लोग फिल्म को याद रखें? वो इम्पोर्टेंट है। थैंक यू, थैंक यू। It's about economies of the film industry. Something which I think a lot of people say is a worrying thing today. I don't think it's a worrying thing because if it's seen on the big screen, then there are good dividends to pay back. It's lots more things which I don't think I can discuss here. Most of the time, the monies which are put into movies is not really seen on the big screen. It goes in other expenditures, which the audience really doesn't care about. So that is a very important thing.
So do you think making a multi-billion-dollar movie is still
Billion? You just said billion. You said $1 billion.
So making a very expensive movie, it still does make sense because people are not willing to pay a premium price for it when they get free access to it, right?
Why are you saying people are not willing to pay premium prices?
Eventually, with the free access and very cheap access to digital platforms.
That's not true. If didn't you and I go and see Bahubali? Didn't you and I go and see Fast and Furious? Didn't you and I go and see Doom and Kick and big movies? Think about it. You have to compel the audiences to get up from their TV boxes, from their phones and from their laptops and come to the cinemas to watch big screen movies. Movies are now clear-cut divided into I'm only going to get out of my house, pay a premium price of 500 rupees if the movie is big screen entertainment. And that is what is working. Of course, you have small budget films doing reasonably well, but they don't really end up doing anything the kind of businesses the big movies can do.
So do you think the only
Yes.
ओके सर
The announcement.
लाइट चालू करो मेरा बंद हाँ
Oh, okay, sorry.
ओके रेडी
बेटा स्लोली बात कर। किस तरह से
आप इस इवेंट से जुड़े हैं इसके बारे में बात जानना चाहूँगा।
इस इवेंट से मयंक शेखर ने मुझे इनवाइट किया इस इवेंट पर। मिडडे के साथ अच्छे ताल्लुकात पूरी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री के हैं। जागरण के साथ ताल्लुकात सबके अच्छे हैं. I think it's a great initiative, the Dainik Jagran Cinema Summit, which is a good initiative for the film industry and the media to get together and see different kinds of films, talk about different kinds of topics. It's a nice thing.
ओके किस टॉपिक पे आज कन्वर्सेशन होने वाला है?
I think the conversation which they've asked me to talk on is budgets of economies of film industry. कि किस तरह की फिल्में बिजनेस इतना अच्छा नहीं कर पा रही हैं जो एक ज़माने में करती थी. बट ये समस्या तो हमेशा से रही है.
ओके थैंक यू.
Guys, we are waiting for Guneet.
We are waiting for Amrita. Guneet is here, ladies and gentlemen. Zordar talia for Guneet Monga. I will read out your introduction again later, to you.
It was at 6:20.
Welcome. Yes.
Oh, it was at 6:20? Yeah. So we're early.
We're early? Okay, maybe Mr. Dungarpur finished his presentation earlier. Okay, so if we have to wait, we will wait. Because we're still waiting for Mayank. So if you could give me just 2 minutes. We're not opening this for questions just yet because Mayank is going to kill me. Mukesh ji said we can easily sort of have a chat he can have a chat by
Yeah, but if
himself.
you all are thinking that we are late, we were supposed to be here at 6:10. We are actually 6:20 here. We are actually 20 minutes early.
Oh, okay.
So the most important question which we'd like to ask all of you all is, खाना किधर है?
Give me a second.
Chilling like.
Yeah. He had to go and sign a film. And I got late because it was a budget meeting.
And
Okay, that's Mayank over there. Please give him a big hand, Mayank.
ladies and gentlemen,
Everybody waiting
Mayank. Mayank Shekhar is here. I believe it started early. But no, they asked me to come.
Good to see you. Have you all been introduced? Yes. Hi. Hello. Would you like to be in the center? Huh? Would you like to be in the center? No, I'll be in the corner. Are you sure? Yeah. I think we can start. Yeah. Like how Ashik gives you
I always believe in starting. Waiting is not good for anybody's health.
Yeah, and I don't think we should discuss weight with me because I'm as it is overweight. Just start.
We could probably wait for 5 minutes because we did give them a time of 6:10.
No, but then we can just start.
They'll join in. I mean, what we can
They'll
do
join
is something that doesn't usually happen in panel discussions is to start with the audience and then get on to the discussion itself. Everyone knows everyone in this room, on this panel. There is Alok Tandon, who heads Inox. There is Mukesh Bhatt, who pretty much heads Bollywood. There is Sajid Khan, who heads Twitter and Facebook. There is Guneet Monga, who is pretty much the flag bearer of independent cinema. Any questions from the audience to start with? Vishek, question from you?
I had a question for Sajid. Sir, your last film, Hum Shakal, 65 crore.
64. To be. Yeah.
And that's
I'll tell you why, sir. It's been 3 years. The perception of Hum Shakals was so bad that you were made to believe, and honest to God, that it's the worst film ever made. Largely thanks to, social media and Twitter and some part of the media. Plus the hero of the film also spoke against it. So, वो perception इतना खराब हुआ film का कि it's one of the worst films ever made. It rates on TV, it plays back on TV every week. I think TV is a very strong medium to judge the actual real life of a film. बहुत सारी फिल्में होती हैं जो बिजनेस करती हैं बॉक्स ऑफिस पर टीवी पे कभी नजर नहीं आती है बिकॉज दोज मूवीज वर नेवर मेंट फॉर फैमिली वॉचिंग ऑडियंसेस ऑन टीवी परहैप्स. Hum Shakals plays back every week, and to think about it, 64 is not a bad number if you compare it today. But तभी क्या हो रहा था? People were expecting all those movies to do 100. 100 was like a silver jubilee benchmark. So it did not do 100. So technically, it's a flop, but not a disaster the way it was made out to be. I took 3 years because I took 1.5 years to write a script, which eventually did not get made because the script was based on the Korean film where the Korean people had to take the rights back in that stipulated period of time. Then I started working. I've worked on about 4 scripts. Hopefully, in 2018, back-to-back 2 films will start, sir. But it's helped me a little bit to understand the curves of the business, to understand what the audience really wants, and that sometimes when you're just working all the time, you are in the middle of it, you really don't know what's working and what's not working. You just keep working. When you just stand at the side, you understand things a little bit better. The mist clears, and that's, I think, what's happened.
Also, I'm a single screen owner and all your films have done really well in our theater. I'm just waiting for you to just come out.
Thank you, sir. And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm a huge supporter of single screens, and मेरे दिल से आपका single screen हमेशा चलता रहे, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, I'm just waiting for Siddharth now. No. Yeah.
Sid has come.
You're on time.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Sid.
Hi, Sid.
You're on time. Yes, I know. Before time. Yeah, everybody's before time.
Hello, sir.
You're on lost.
Wait. Thank you. Super. I think where we have the numbers, we have the audience that's ready. We'll get to the questions after the session now. We're just waiting for Siddharth and Amrita to show up. Not that you guys are late. We just started a little early. We were like far too eager. Just absolutely on time. Absolutely on time, guys. It's only inevitable that I start with a massive elephant in this room, okay? And it's an elephant that's walking. I'm talking about the changes in the economics.
You're talking about my weight?
No, something much bigger in size. And the elephant is actually marching from Bahubali's army. And that happened in 2017. There's a movie that came out that shattered every single myth that we've known about mainstream filmmaking sitting here in Bombay. The one thing is that the movie has to have a huge star. It did not. The second thing is the movie has to have great songs. I don't remember any song of Bahubali. I don't know if you guys do. And the third thing, that a film cannot be a pan-India hit. It cannot do as well in the south as it does in the north. It cannot do as well in the east as it does in the west. And of course, across the board. Did Bahubali, I'm gonna do a full round here on this one before we even begin, the officially begin the panel discussion. Did Bahubali shock you guys? Starting with you, Siddharth. And what did you make of it?
The scale of the success definitely did shock me, at least personally. I knew it was going to be a massive hit. The second part, the first part I think shocked everyone, except probably Rajamouli, which is why he had the faith and the courage and the conviction to do what he did. But we talk about crossover movies and Indian films crossing over to a non-Indian audience. This is one film that crossed over from every state of India to the other.
Right.
Actually, the only film that ever did that. Because we've always looked at movies in India as being regional or Hindi movies or otherwise English films. And we've aspired to crossover. This actually opened our eyes to a true crossover Indian film that did not need an out-of-India diaspora audience to watch it at all. Every bit of that, almost 2,000 crores of box office, has come from an Indian diaspora audience.
Right.
And we haven't had to rely on a non-Indian audience for that, which a lot of our other movies, like for example Dangal, has seen a Chinese audience in China responding to it, but Bahubali was the one film that had a crossover across states. And I think that tells us the power of Indian cinema and not Hindi cinema, Tamil cinema, or Telugu cinema, and what we can achieve if we are able to make a film that is able to reach every Indian rather than a Hindi audience or a Tamil audience or a Bengali audience and so on.
Right. Alok, coming to you, there is a certain inventory, there's a certain thought in terms of how much a film makes, but 1,500 crore, clearly no theatre owner would have thought of that kind of a number. What led to it, and did you expect it?
Oh, well, yes, it was expected. It was expected to be a great success, and we as multiplex operators knew that this movie will do well. And I think so we converted our multiplexes into single screens because all shows, all screens, all theatres were running nothing but Bahubali. And that was the pull of this movie. And as what Siddharth said is absolutely right. It was a true Indian movie. It was not a regional movie. It was not a Hindi movie. It was not a Telugu movie. It was an Indian movie where everybody wanted to see it, and they were waiting for it. In the industry, people come to know what's called the buzz of the movie, how the movie will do, how it will perform. And this was one movie which lived up to its expectations or even beat the expectations by getting in footfalls starting from early morning. I can know 7:38 we had our first shows till late at night. And people were literally, if I can use the word, dying to get a ticket of this particular movie. It was an all-round success. You talked about no songs, nobody else over there, but look at the sets, the way the story was portrayed. So at the end of the day, what became, and what we all say is content is king, and the way it was portrayed was nothing but outstanding.
I'm sorry, sir, may I ask one question, sir? Sir, but Bahubali ke time pe, even the multiplexes rates were exorbitantly high, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, unreal high, like even up to 2,500 rupees a ticket.
Well, okay, I don't know 2,500, but I can talk about my multiplex. Our average ticket price, okay, let me, if I can just keep Bahubali aside and just talk about the rates which you just mentioned. The average ticket price of Inox Leisure Limited, which is a public listed company, last year was 177 rupees. And which means the 2,500 which you are saying, which we never charged, maximum we went up for Bahubali in a recliner seat with all the services was 1,500. That too only in not more than 200 seats across the 1,20,000 seats which we have inventory of.
1,500 rupees.
In 200 seats. Yes. And which, again, I don't think is bad because look at the hype, look at the rentals we pay, look at the ambience we give. That's a separate story altogether. But even if I look at the total Bahubali average ticket price would not be across our entire chain more than 180 to 190 rupees maximum.
I mean, no matter what you charge, the fact is that people paid. People went to the theatre and they bought those tickets.
Absolutely.
I mean, Mr. Bhatt, does it surprise you that it takes a filmmaker from Hyderabad to set up this entire, for 5 years, put this together, and really screw Bollywood in its own game, as it were? I mean, we've been talking about 300 crore, 400 crore. What is that next to these guys who just come from down south and tell you that these are the number of people who will want to go and watch a film if you make it interesting enough for them to get out of home and watch it in a theatre?
See, I want to tell you one thing, Mayank, which is that this phenomenon of Bahubali is not something new for me. I was born in this industry. My father came in 1928, in the silent era. So out of 100 years of Indian cinema, which we celebrated a couple of years back, I take pride to say that my family has been 84 years in the business.
Right.
So having said that, I have seen in my childhood this kind of an event experience. What do you call it? Event.
Yes.
Bahubali became an event.
Right.
As a child, I remember Mughal-e-Azam, when the Shapoorji Pallonji made the only film they made. And K. Asif, who was not even a literate person in terms of education. He was a tailor. And he had the vision, the cinematic vision, which the best of schools would not teach you. And that event, when the premiere of Mughal-e-Azam happened, I remember as a child, Maratha Mandir, where they had made the big statues of Mughal-e-Azam and all, and the prince came on an elephant. It was created, that the aura was created from the word go, and special tickets were printed. People were sleeping outside the cinema halls for 2 days to get a ticket. And there were false tickets being circulated and sold in those days. So it happened earlier also, whether it was a Mughal-e-Azam, or it became Sholay,
Sure.
or it became a Jai Santoshima. Jai Santoshima, people used to keep the chappals out and go inside and watch the movie. It happened in India.
But that's what I'm talking about.
And a person who never made a film before that.
Right.
And after that also, that was his only claim to fame, before and after. But what connect that particular film had is something which only the audience can tell. We can sit and analyze why a film became such a big hit. Oh, because it was so good and it was written so well and all, and why the picture flopped. You can give 20 reasons for that and 20 reasons why it became a success. The fact is that, I'm not saying that content is not king, yes it is, but there's something which let's be modest and humble enough to say, is something magical which we still don't know. What connects with the audiences in the way it connects, which make films like Bahubali or internationally, the blockbusters which are there.
Yeah.
There is some connect which, some magical connect which happens.
I don't know anyone in Bombay who knows or understands box office better than Sajid Khan.
No,
sitting
that's,
right
not,
there.
that's not true.
There are other people too. You know some?
No, I
Tell me something, Sajid. Was Sholay a huge hit down south? Was Mughal-e-Azam a huge hit down south or perhaps in the east? Or
Again, what you're saying is you're talking about 25, 30 years
I'm
ago.
talking about a pan-India film.
Of course those movies were super hits all across all centers here. But see, the reason why a Bahubali does 500 crores is because, like Mukeshji rightfully said, it's an event film. And kya hota hai ki, who are the movie-going audiences? They are the movie-going audiences. You and I watch movies every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we go again every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we go again. And sometimes we decide to skip a bad film, or sometimes we decide to see a film 2 times. But it's more or less the same audience which goes to the theaters. When does a movie reach out and do 350, 400, 500 crores? When people who don't go to the cinemas, they come out of their offices, parents, moms, uncles, aunties, people working in office, nahi, ye picture ke bare mein suna, ye picture dekhni padegi. That is how the business doubles. That is what has happened with Bahubali. Like Mukeshji rightfully said, it's an event film, it did an event business.
Right.
And hopefully it's the start of things. I am not too unsure whether a Hindi film, sooner or later in 2 or 3 years, will cross that 500 crore barrier. I mean, when Dangal did what it did in China, people could not believe that it's done it, but it's opened everyone's eyes. The same year which Bahubali opened. So, Bahubali is the start of things.
Right.
It's a good start.
Sure. Guneet, do you have a mic? So that just screws it up for you now, Guneet? Right? So a movie comes, 1,500 crore, now everybody's going to put 500 crore, nobody's going to care about your 5 crore movies, right? And then the theater is going to have all shows of that movie playing from morning till night. Where do you get the outlet for what is quote unquote independent cinema, or at least low budget cinema, or at least cinema that isn't just an event picture?
So of course, I mean, I stand on the side and celebrate Bahubali. I don't think I'm a part of, or I can comment on that, but it is, for me, it's very heartening that everybody sitting here on the panel is addressing this as Indian cinema. I think a decade in this business, I have gone around showing my films and saying I'm Indian cinema, and people say Bollywood, you know?
Right.
And then you go and show them Udaan, or you show them Yellow Boots, or you show them, Lunchbox, or
Right.
Masan, and they're like, but what is this? So around the world, we've been talking about Indian cinema, Indian cinema, Indian cinema, cinema from India, and this Bollywood tag that we've had. So I'm just very excited and happy, and I'm rejoicing that there is a bit of, there is a large unity here. And that's defining Indian cinema. So I think the whole country came together to celebrate that. I wanted to point out here that, when Bahubali Part 1 released, I think a couple of weeks later, a Salman Khan movie came, Bajrangi Bhaijaan, and immediately, a week later, came Masan. And it was around the same time. The same month was Bahubali, Bajrangi, and Masan. And of course, we thought that nobody knew the phenomena that Part 1 will be. And it became so big. But we had our shows. I mean, and Masan did what it did in its own small way. It did not cross crores and crores of money, but Masaan is something that everybody in the room would remember, and even when you go out, people remember it, appreciate it, love it. It did struck a chord. And I remember having this conversation with our distributor, which was Anil, who was also the distributor of Bahubali, and how he managed to...
Anil Thadani.
Yeah,
Right.
and how he managed to balance this act with every cinema chain owner, but you know, we did manage to carve out a niche. You know, I don't think can even be on the same platform. It's like comparing watermelon to like a carrot. You know, you just can't compare things. So we cannot even talk numbers and compare. But yes, if I have to talk about happiness quotient, taking this from Lunchbox, Masaan did create a little dent in people's heart, and of course, Bahubali did also. So yeah, we coexisted. And I think when business can run with one film making money and the other film also upping the happiness quotient of cinema and enjoying it, that's like, I think people make money and then can come back and put that in the business is the best way to
So
be.
it goes back to the
It's very
system, so long as
healthy.
it does that.
Yeah.
Amit, I'm going to come to you. Sorry, you wanna
Content
finish
is,
this?
sorry,
Yeah.
so long as content is recognized across the platform.
Absolutely. About a decade ago, perhaps, is when the big studios, as it were, came down to Bombay. Small in Bombay, but huge globally. We assumed that these guys have deep pockets. They're going to invest in Bollywood. But you actually ended up making the same kind of films and ensured, to some extent, that the stuff that you were making abroad is what will penetrate Indian market. Was it a ploy, or is this just my conspiracy theory, that the whole idea of coming here was to actually ensure that Spider-Man goes to the last man standing, rather than make a Spider-Man in India for an Indian audience? You went completely the Bollywood route when it came to making movies here, and then it took a Rajamouli down south in Hyderabad to take that big leap in terms of the big budget, while all the money was here in Bombay as well.
So when, you know, this is Disney and we used to be UTV earlier.
Yes.
And we made Dangal as well.
Right.
So I think that, I mean, to answer your point on Bahubali, I just want to say, because I can't not say it, I think it was a film where we all went out, and I remember whistling in the theater. I'm not that audience. I don't usually do that. And I think that the film really resonated with every single one. And just to Alok's point on ticket pricing, I mean, because I have so many things to say, and
Go for
I just
it.
want to, yeah. I think that on Dangal, for instance, we were sort of checking with, you know, the distributor exhibition community. I think our average ticket price ended up being less than 90 rupees. So I think that really sort of makes you happy, because of course, to Sajid's point, there are some theaters, and you need to do that, right? How do you sustain that business? But the good thing is that it was good to know that the Dangal average ticket price was less than 90. To come to your point, I think, let me not talk about only our studio, let me talk about
No, I'm
all
talking about in
studios.
general, yes.
Yeah. I think that we started out, I remember, in UTV in 2003, and we made many different films, right? We made Rang De Basanti, we made Khosla Ghosla, we made Metro, we made, you know, so many amazing movies, A Wednesday. And, you know, they made money in those times. There were movies like Dev D, which were iconic. They may not have made money, but, you know, they made you really, really proud. And then, you know, later when the company integrated with Disney, I know that we made ABCD, we've made Dangal. So we made many movies that haven't worked as well.
Sure.
You know, and we don't like to talk about those. But I don't think it's true that we went only the Bollywood way. We watched Lunchbox. We loved it. I remember Sid was in those days there, and with Karan, we distributed the film.
Right.
So I think there's no question, and especially even today, even if you look at the business, there's no question of making movies which are formula, because those movies aren't working. So if you even see what Dangal did over PK, you know, what you may call as a, you know, a Raju AK film, given that, you know, Nitesh was a director who we worked with after he's done 2 films. I think that there is no question that you have to work on movies today which sort of, you know, connect with the audience rather than movies which are formula films.
Right.
If I look at other studios as well, I think everyone's making an effort to do that. Of course, we're failing. And of course, what I love about Bahubali is that, you know, there isn't a big star in it. We don't know Prabhas, we didn't know Rana as well as we do now, and, you know, we whistled when we saw them on screen. And I think that that's amazing, because usually it's always a big cast. You look at the top 3 films every year, it's always a big Hindi star.
Right.
So it makes me personally really happy that, you know, here's a film that nobody knows anything of. Jungle Book, not one actor.
Right.
And it's the highest English film. I mean, there's no Vin Diesel, there's no one in there. So I feel happy being in this business today that a big film doesn't, and then there's Dangal as well.
Right.
And I think people have loved Dangal not just for Amir in it, but I think it's also the film, the way the directors made it, the story. And I think that's what's
We'll
really
get to Dangal a little later in that panel discussion. Sid, you were in Disney until very recently. Tell me very honestly, if Rajamouli came to you and said, here's my script, here's the deal, here's what I want to make, here's the star in it, here are the songs, and this is the kind of money I'm demanding to make for a pan-Indian audience, would you have said yes to that? Or would any Bombay studio have yes to that?
It is a really good point that you make, because I think the budget he started with compared to the budget he ended with was 4 times what he said that he would make it for. And I think it does take balls of steel for someone to actually have the guts to say that I'm giving you a blank check, go ahead and do whatever you want to do over the next 5 years. I believe in your vision completely. I have to say that would have been a very, very difficult call for anyone to make, right? Having said that, you know, to your earlier point about studios, the reason that foreign studios came to India and realized that they could not sustain themselves just trying to bring their imports in was because Hindi movies is a different kettle of fish altogether. So I don't think the solution would have been to come and try to make Spider-Man in India, because we have Salman Khan and he is our Spider-Man, right? So we need to do stuff. I mean, the idea was that studios realized that they'd spent 60, 70 years distributing the Hollywood movies here, but it wasn't going beyond 10% of the box office. So to get into the game, they had to make Hindi movies the way Hindi movies are made and hopefully invest more in the industry. Now, would they be able to, like, I mean, a Fox did it with something like a Titanic, right? Where they just backed James Cameron and said, go out and do it, and that budget went sky high. But then they got Paramount to come and back them up. And they regretted that later because they actually had to then share the profits with Paramount. But they said that we'll cap whatever you guys put in, but we'll have to keep going up, you know, sort of depending on the over budget. So it is a tough call for studios to make. And I dare say, I don't think Bahubali would have been able to be made within the studio system, because this was one of those movies that was just so out of left field. You needed a single person to be able to back that vision and then just to say, I'm going to write you a blank check.
But having crossed the threshold, do you think the studio system would be accepting now because they've just seen what is possible?
You know, I think really, to Sid's point, a film like that genuinely is like now, sorry?
Mic's not working? Close it.
I mean, if you look at Bahubali after, it's much, I'm sure Rajamouli has been courted by every studio in the country right now. But if you're asking the question that before release, would it have happened now? I mean, it's so, and let's not forget that he, I mean, his previous movies, why are we talking only about Bahubali? I remember we went to the theater to watch Makhi. I remember we went to the theater to watch all his previous movies, and he's done phenomenally well. Actually, pretty much like a Raju, he has, I mean, you know, every film that he does really, really well. So, but I'm not quite sure if, you know, at that point, any one of us would have.
It's about you've been around for the longest, as you rightly put it, not just personally, but also from the perspective of the family. But your own company is 30 years old. You've seen, and we're discussing changes in the economics of filmmaking. You've seen serious changes, as it were. The one big change that happened, and especially with the studios coming to Bombay, was how the stars became the producers, right? And they would take a fair chunk of the profit, because if you're going to make a movie just because the star is in it, then it's, you know, it's rightfully theirs for the taking. What did you think of what happened around, I would imagine, about the mid-2000s until later?
A very interesting question, Bang. When I look back, when the new millennium came in, the 2000, see, you know, me and my brother both are hardcore workaholics. We don't enjoy alcohol at all. We don't party. So on the first of, not many people know.
You're a good beer drinker. What are you talking about? You quit?
That's long back.
Oh, long time back.
Yeah. That was, I think so, before partition or something. That one. You know, well, we used to, my buddy used to finish a bottle of whiskey in a night.
Right.
With Rajnikant. So he was a Don Badman. I was Tendulkar, but he was Don Badman. But having said that, you know, the year 2000 came, and 1st of Jan we met, and we always had this thing of looking back at the year which passed us and the year ahead. We do that even now, every year.
Right.
And when the 1st of Jan 2000, I distinctly remember our breakfast at 8:30 in the morning in the office. I told him, because he is a creative think tank, and I run the government. So I told him a line which he kept completely shocked him. I said, what's up? Buying a star is more expensive than making one. So his eyebrows went up. He said, come again. I said, buying a star is more expensive than making one. Let's concentrate in making stars than buying them. Because I could see that curve happening. After having worked with all the stars, and I want to tell you one thing. Fortunately for me, I would say, I had a beautiful experience working with all of them. I am one producer who can take pride that I have made 3 films with Aamir Khan. It's not a joke to make 3 films with Aamir. And Siddharth can vouch for it very well. The complete OCD. And then with Sanjay Dutt's 3 films, with Sajay Devgan, name all, I've worked with everybody.
Right.
And all of them were darlings. They were very good with me. But then I could see that thing coming. Now the thing shifting where before that goes, all hell goes loose. I felt that you need to change your track and start really working on creating new talent, because we knew that we knew our job, simple as that. So I said that also gave, unfortunately because of that step of us, we not only gave new actors a debut, but directors, like Anurag Basu came from us, Mohit Suri came from us, Kunal Deshmukh came from us, so many directors, so many actors, so many music directors, singers, writers. We took up upon us an oath that we will not make a film if there's not a debutant in that. So be if he's an editor or a DOP. But we must launch somebody in every film. And I thank that decision. Really was very important. It gave a new lease of life to our company.
Right.
With Mahesh Bhatt in the ending of The Last Millennium, hanging his boots as a director, was a very important call I had to take, because he was a very powerful filmmaker in his innings. He had made some great films, path-breaking films.
Right.
So for me to now take the company forward was not an easy one. So this decision with him now becoming the creative fountainhead, I felt that his contribution towards the company became tenfold more, because he was not in the act himself. So he could oversee young filmmakers, give him his expertise, and try level best. It's not that the car didn't skid. Sometimes we did slip in some of our films, but the journey has been a fabulous one after that.
Right.
And what is important is that I always tell people that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but those who are not willing to unlearn and relearn. See, that is very important, how you dismantle everything that you have learned and be courageous enough to look at a bare wall and start again, fresh. All the time you have to tell yourself that you don't know.
Right.
You think you know.
Coming to you, Sajid, and we had this conversation earlier in the day, or was it yesterday? At some point, is there a snake in the room? I thought there was an elephant. At some point, things came to hit the roof, as it were, because when we deal with the economics of Bollywood compared to, say, Hollywood, Hollywood would have what can be called the $1 billion club. Like that would be about, say, 6,500 crores is what we're looking at. At some point, Bollywood had its 100 crore club, right? Yet when you look at the highest paid celebrities in the world, you'd find 3 or 4 major stars from Bollywood in it. Not, which obviously means that they're bagging most of what is supposed to be made by the industry per se, that there isn't that much flowing back into the system. Do you think that really happened? And you have a formula, which I think you must tell the audience, what you think a movie star should charge.
No, it's not a formula. It's just a thought which I discussed with a couple of movie star friends over the last 2 to 3 years, that if a huge actor is taking a particular fee, his fee should be exactly the opening day. Whatever the opening day does. If it does 10 crores, his fee should be 10 crores. If it does 20 crores, his fee should be 20 crores. If his opening day is 30
Never gonna
crores-
happen.
I know. They asked me to leave. So I left. But this is what I keep discussing. Because if you're charging, say, a premium price and you're not opening on that day, then how does it justify the film or the producer or the distributor? Then eventually it sinks the film. So even if the film does what it's supposed to do, for example, I'm just giving I'll give my own example. Hamshakals doing 64 is not a bad number had the film been made in 55, 60 crores. The film was made in 75, 80 crores, so it's a flop.
And how much of that 75 crore go to the stars, ratio-wise?
In 75, it would go, I think, around what, 25%? 25, 30 more. Almost, 35%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So take that away, you have a hit.
You can't take that away, but you have to, So that makes a big difference, if an actor should be paid a minimum guarantee, this is your minimum price, and whatever the opening day does.
Right.
So that will justify filmmaking in a very big way of making big films.
Right. Guneet, whether you like it or not, most big cinema industry in the world, and there are actually only two, they are led by stars because the audience sees the photo in the poster, there's a projection of all their fears and love into one human being, and they just love that person. It's hard to explain why. It's a cosmic relationship between the screen and the movie actor. When you make independent films, and I see that happening gradually, correct me if I'm mistaken, are you able to create some sort of a star system in the sphere that you're in? Have you reached a point where Nawaz in his own space is a star, or a Vicky Kaushal is a star in his own way? Are we reaching that?
Yeah.
Or are you even attempting that in the first place?
I think that threshold has been passed. I mean, Nawaz, Vicky, Richa, Huma, even Pankaj Tripathi, or even Sanjay Mishra, or even, Irfan. I think it's really created, that whole awareness has happened. Where everybody now talks about good actors, and we want good actors, and even to balance a star, or even to put bigger movies together, and this whole thing about big actors not working with new startups is all crossed. So I think it's great. It's a good time. People are casting AIB and TVF people, and even they have their threshold. So I would always look at the US market and say, okay, there are music guys, there are YouTube guys, there are sports guys, and there are movie stars, and it's massive. And you cast, and there are wrestling people, and you always have a certain following, and you can cast across so many people. So I think that threshold has been crossed.
So if you were to put it down in terms of numbers, would you be able to find, say, a growth in terms of trajectory, in terms of how much you can actually spend in a film, say starring a Nawaz, or a TVF champion, or a AIB dude? Do you actually have a number there? For a fact that these guys will show up, this number will show up, so you can make a movie of that budget. Are you there yet?
So, I think a lot about that. And with everything that we've been able to be a part of and create, I've kind of learned that yes, there is a sweet spot of that budget. It's under 5. And of course, the film cannot be A. There is a certain material that the film needs to be in. I'm talking about completely new guys, or not Rajkumar Rao and Ayushmann Khurrana films.
What's that number like? 15?
Yeah, I think that's
let's check.
10, 12 plus PNA. So
now it can be A.
Huh?
There's no censorship on SWOT till D.
Yeah, so digital came in. I'm talking about my days of making Haram Khor. I made it in 2011. Nobody wanted to touch it. I think some 300 people must have seen it over 3-4 years. It just made me say कि तुम अच्छे लोग हो, but क्या बनाते हो तुम? तो nobody wanted to touch it. And I used to say कि मैंने तो एक 25 में बनाई है यार. तो मतलब वो अलग दिन थे when we made it, but there was no taker for that, and it was banned, and it was and it was a tough topic. We won the court case, the PNA happened, and for a 5-year-old film to do 2.5 crores in 60 lakhs of PNA, and now there is a big Netflix deal, there's a big satellite deal. it just totally is like the most amazing business sense, you know.
Right.
But it started with, I mean, we put together the film with 10 people from Facebook financing it. Because I was de-risking it from day one, ki chalo divide kar dete hain, crowdfunding. That time Wishberry was not there. There was no concept of crowdfunding. So it started with that on how we can try and tell a story, which is difficult. And it did not make sense for 5 years. It's
Right.
now made sense. And now it's, I think, the most profitable film that I have seen. I mean, of course, there is Lunchbox, but it's gone up because of Netflix. There was no Netflix. I mean, when we did Peddlers or Monsoon Shootout, or there was no Netflix or Amazon buyers for India. So
Right.
one seen
Well,
more.
the other criticism the star system has been, Amita, especially vis-a-vis studios, because they were new into the market, they wanted to enter the system. The only way they could do it is through actually paying a lot of money to the stars. Not just that, also local producers, them owning content, then they're giving you what is quote-unquote a raw deal. Did you go through this? Did you as an industry, on that side of the industry, go through this, where even if you make a lot of money, very little comes to you, all of it goes to Aamir Khan?
So I'm the villain on this panel for everyone.
It's a question. Did you face that problem?
I think, again, I'll talk about all studios, not just
Sure,
us, because, and I remember you spoke about early 2000s. I remember one of the first deals that happened, you know, at that point, and I was, you know, in UTV then, was I think for Krish, because there was a lot of corporate money in then. You know, I don't know, Mukeshji, if you remember that, but because you've seen all these phases, right? And at that point, all of us wanted to do big films, and we wanted to make different movies, but of course, we've all made mistakes. Of course, we've sort of fed into the whole situation of doing, you know, movies at a high cost, which you shouldn't have done. Sajid mentioned that at the end of the day, it's not a bad box office, it's a bad cost.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of companies have faced it, but I think that there has been a lot of, you know, sense that has sort of come into the system 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it continues even now. And see, I think that if somebody is demanding something, there's also someone paying for it. So it's not a one-sided situation, right? You can always walk away and you can say no. And, you know, we've paused right now for that very reason, because you can say that, you know, this is not working out for me, it's not equitable, and, you know, what do you want to do? But I don't want to comment on one deal or two deals or any one particular film for obvious reasons.
Sure.
But I think that, you know, there is some sense that's come in. To Guneet's point, there was no Amazon, there was no Netflix, there was no Hotstar. You know, there was none of this a long time ago. But I think we shouldn't take this revenue for granted, because I don't know if it's sustainable, because a lot of money is being paid, a lot of, you know, the same entry fees is being paid by some of these, you know, digital players, because they want content, and we're assuming that, you know, hey, the revenue has gone up. So I hope that the sense sort of, you know, that's come into the system.
Are you saying that's another bubble waiting to be burst?
I feel personally, again, I mean, you know, I can't talk for them, but I don't know if some of the numbers that have happened, some of the deals that have happened are sustainable.
Sure.
And I think it's great that these deals are happening. And to Guneet's point, I think some of these movies should find their way to these, because I know I watch these movies on Netflix. I may not have the time to go to the theater to watch them. And I feel like there is a bubble, I think so.
Right.
And I don't think it's sustainable, and I think we shouldn't count on it that it will continue at this level.
Right. Sid, taking a more holistic view of the star system, as it were, America has pretty much given up on that system. They've created these reboots, franchises, you know, multiple superhero movies where it doesn't matter who's the star. I remember back in the 90s, we'd hear about how Jim Carrey is the highest paid, or we'd hear about how, you know, Julia Roberts is now the highest paid, etc., etc. You don't hear that news anymore. It's always about which is this new blockbuster entertainment that's going to come. You think that was a conscious call to actually take on what is the new industry in terms of Amazon or the Netflixes of the world, and to actually bring people into theaters, which is just pure extravaganza in terms of a 3D and things that you cannot do on a download or on television or on laptop?
So I think you make a fair point. I think two things happen at the same time. One is that Hollywood got to a point, like you said, in probably the 90s, when they were actually paying gross points to stars, which means that regardless of how well the film was doing, from the first dollar it earned at the box office, you had to pay Tom Cruise a certain percentage of that in addition to his fee. So it got to a crazy level. I think what they did is that they went into their literature and they went into their TV of, you know, like a certain vintage and started mining that for franchises. And they went into comic books, and they realized that that is controllable, you know, IP. A star is never something that you're going to be able to own, and is always someone that you are going to want to replace, but you're going to want to replace with another star who again will have their own demands. But if you're able to mine IP and own and control it,
enter the auditorium. So that's how it is. It is just content driven. A couple of things, and when you talked about footfalls, I would say is that footfalls will increase in our country because watching a movie is in our DNA. If we have more screen penetration. Today we are a very under-screened nation, and that is something which is affecting our industry. We just have 8 screens per million population, and if I look at the multiplex screens, it's only 2 to 2.5 multiplex screens per million population, which is nothing. And if you
yeah,
look
but what's
at
stopping you from growing those screens anyway? I mean, you have a business. If it was doing well enough, you would expand in any case, right?
Sure, I would love to do that, and I hope it's that easy as you are saying. I would just love to do it. A couple of things which are hindering us. Number one is the ease to do business where licensing is concerned. We are ready with screens, we are ready with multiplexes, and hence until it takes us months and months to even get that piece of paper which allows us to put the first ray of the project on the screen. To open a multiplex takes ages. The other thing which is hindering us is the development of malls in the country. We have realized in India that a mall and a multiplex have to coexist. People go out shopping, they go out eating, they watch a film. For them, it's a total package with the family and friends. And the growth of malls is not taking place at the rate at which we would like it to happen. The other thing which is hindering growth in this country is malls are made, okay, let's say malls are made, but how many of them are doing well? Statistics show that there are only 10 to 15% of the malls which are doing well, and hence people do not come inside. So there are various factors which are affecting the growth of the industry.
Right.
I'm not even talking about taxation. I'm not even talking about other legislations. I'm not even talking about that entertainment is a state subject and not a central subject. So all these things are compounding, and that's the reason why our footfalls are still stagnant.
I wanted to add something here, and I wanted to just take off from where Sid said that, and I've just observed that it's harder to put out Hindi films because of PNA, and our PNA is 10x than regional films. So while we make Hindi language independent films, smaller films, we sit on a massive PNA cost, which is double our budget. And it really does not make business sense to put it out there, given the taxes, given the reality, and given the situation of being in a position of doing pan-India marketing and sitting in a position of theatre scarcity and Hollywood and big Bollywood and event films. But the minute you do regional, the PNA is 1/10 the cost, and at any level, even the big stars there, there is a ticket, there is a loyalty of going and seeing that language films, their own this thing, and you sit on a kind of an abundance of cinemas. There is a law, there are the better ways of putting it together. So, you know, I saw it very closely with Masan and Killa, our DOP directed Killa, and I was just like, you know, we make Hindi films and we sit in a position, but you can go out there, make a Serat or make a New Kids, you make films and they make money, and it's regional. So there is a massive growth in Tamil, Gujarati, Telugu,
But do you have a
Marathi.
personal grouse with exhibitors per se or multiplex owners, the fact that your budget is rather low, there is a certain audience that wants to come and watch the film, but the pricing of the ticket remains rather high still?
That is of course one part, but my biggest grudge has been about PNA. That I want to, I mean, when I did produce Dasvidanya, there was a era where we put out a film in 1 crore. And there was an era. So while studios have come in, the scene in Bollywood has been that, in Hindi language, has been that our PNA costs have increased. I mean, and that has clearly impacted on us trying to make movies in Hindi language. It makes no sense if you get out there, make a film in 3 crores, you kill yourself. It's a good film, but you need 5-6 crores to put it out there.
Sure. Mr. Bhatt, when the whole mall/multiplex revolution happened, so to say, and it's actually penetrated into the smaller towns now, there was this whole thing about a certain kind of film being a class film and the other kind of film being the mass film. Now, even with those many screens, because every multiplex will have more than one screen, of course, and then there are single screen cinemas, most of them shutting down in any case. Are the two films the same? The fact is that even two big movies cannot release on a Friday because one will eat into the business of the other. I mean, after those many years, and that many multiplexes / malls, we're still facing the same problem?
No, the issue is something else altogether, Mike. The problem is, you know what? While the world has changed, the mindsets of people have not changed. The producer has not changed, beginning with production, I would say we can start with me. We are, all our measurements of present and future is on yesterday's yardstick, which you should have debunked long back, but you don't. And similar is the mindset of the distributor and the exhibitor. Eid and a Diwali or so-called national festival is kept only for the three Khans. And so much so, because I'm not here to be judgmental or whether the multiplexes are right or wrong. They'll give them 40 shows. Obviously because they are stars, they bring in the footfalls.
Right.
But you have to decide whether you want to win the battle or the war. You don't give windows for independent producers like her or somebody who wants to make a film close to his heart with absolutely fresh talent, whether they're fresh directors, writers, actors. Give them a fair chance, a window to stand on a festive week. Give them, allocate some slot for them intentionally so that you don't just live on just 3 or 4 weeks in the entire 52 weeks. You've got 52 weeks to survive, right? Create opportunities for more stars to be born, for more new directors to come, more new producers to come, to make content which can, not today, later on compete with the giants of today. We are not allowing that to happen. You have heroes who are 50 plus singing romantic songs. Isn't that obscene? Let's do some introspection. No offense meant, please, but we are talking some plain talking.
Yeah, we're talking
we have to have fresh writers, directors, makers like her, given equal chance on a Friday in terms of window showcasing for a film to survive. So you might say, oh my God, if I give her, I will get only 10% or 15% collection. So be it. You have to initially stick your neck out. The day will come, I can guarantee you one thing, the day will come where you will have a newcomer's film which has got a path-breaking content going full along with a so-called multi-star cast film. The day will 100% come because if you see the trend of the last 1.5 to 2 years, after Bahubali, Hindi medium does well. It came in opposition to Half Girlfriend, which was a bigger star cast film with a bigger director, bigger budget, everything. Boasted of better music, so-called better music. But the business of Hindi medium surprised everybody, and I say thank God for a Hindi medium, because then everybody would say only a Bahubali works, only a 500 crore works, which is nonsense. I will guarantee you one thing, you give and tell any studio to give that Rajamouli another 500 crores and ask him to make a film 1/10 of Bahubali, he'll fall on his face. वो बन जाती है, सब ये फिल्में बन जाती है, बना नहीं सकते हम. These are the magical moments of our business. Even if you ask him in a closed room, he'll say, I don't know whether I can make Bahubali again. He'll be honest enough to say that to you. So we need to first understand this, that mindset of even the exhibitor needs to change. You all need to give equal opportunities for young talented people to do path-breaking things. See a Sumangal Savdan, see a Barfi ki Bareli. It's the audience is telling you, and you are deaf, don't want to listen. I'm talking just to the production sector, the distributor will again go prostrate himself outside of Salman Khan's house and buy for 120 crores a film. But he will not go and back a Mongia for a film which is really very good, which can stir the human hearts. When will we wake up to that? I made a film called Begum Jaan by distributor NA Studio, made 4 crores from me. I take pride to say that. I made money, he made money, everybody down the line made money. And the film has given me so much of critical acclaim, which I am proud of. It has resurrected my company, which had made, unfortunately, a couple of bad films in the recent past. So it has been a great, heart-wrenching experience, a Begum Jaan. That same distributor goes and buys a Tube Light and Shah Rukh's film, all due respect to them, again, I'm not trying to run them down. Who am I to do that? And bleeds to death. He bleeds to death. He's practically a finished man. So you have to, even the distributor has to learn कि भाई फोटो सेट नहीं चलते हैं, पिक्चर चलती है, लोग फोटो सेट खरीदते हैं. That photo set can help you for the first day, first show. After that, the film talk. Nowadays, the film talks in the interval with the social media. In the interval, people start saying, "Bakwas hai, fantastic hai." By the interval, you get the news. And if you don't want to hear, you hear the news. So what are you talking about? So I would say, I would request my dear friend Siddharth, who is now the president of the guild, I would say that, no, it's very important, he said. In fact, I would say, on this bunch पे वो आपको कहना चाहता हूँ कि हमको एक guild का initiative लेना चाहिए, where at least quarterly, or quarterly, at least half yearly, we should have a get together in Sun and Sand, where we call the three wings. With three.
Notice, please.
With three, because that's where the guild functions. That's where the guild operates from.
Sure.
Sorry. No offense meant for Marriott.
Right.
But where we call the production sector, the distribution sector, and the exhibition sector, and let us pour our hearts out. Instead of sitting in respective closed rooms and scratching our heads, not knowing where to go. Each one is sitting in his dark room, trying to figure out what's the next step he should take. Fearing to fall, which is very right. Things are scary. The river has changed the course, and a lot of people are getting washed out. So all the more reason we need to hold each other's hand. The three sectors need to come and sit together and talk these things. Only when you start doing minds, you start sharing your minds, you will come to some kind of a roadmap to take things forward. The exhibitor sector is sitting there thinking that he is God's gift to mankind, and he decides what will work and what will not work, and continues functioning the way he used to function in the 90s. The same is with the distributor, and same is with the production. So I feel there's a wake-up call which needs to be done, basically.
Sure. Talking of wake-up call...
And there are no class films and mass films. There are good films and bad films.
Sure.
Yeah, the same thing which was called an art film when we made in the 84 called Earth. Today, Earth would be a very good commercial mainstream film.
Did it make money though back then?
That time also it made money. Okay. It was fortunately a jubilee then. But that's a cult film. But what I will say, an Earth today would come as a mainstream film because
I think there are 2 points you bring up, Mr. Bhatt. One, and I'm going to take you on both of them in terms of where you stand on that. One is that the stars, whether you like it or not, are touching their 50s if they're not crossed 50 already. How much of the film industry can be relied upon just on those 4 or 5 people? Are we at that cusp of change? Would you make your next film with a star one? Second, social media. How has that impacted the business, as it were? As you rightly pointed out, no movie is as terrible as it's made out to be. No movie is as great as it's made out to be as well. I mean, there's a lot of that going on, and how does that affect film business? Take both those, Sajid.
First of all, I think, I agree with what Mukherjee has said. But, the truth is that stars turning 50 and singing songs, this has been the case since the time cinema started. People used to say that about Dharamji and Jeetuji and Mithunji and all these guys. It's okay. I mean, the audiences make them, and the audiences love them. They are too deep-rooted in heartland India. ये जो आज का नया word शुरू है, heartland cinema. Heartland cinema, देसी फिल्म होनी चाहिए. ये मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता है. हिंदी फिल्म आप बनाओ, अच्छी बनाओ, commercial बनाओ, वो पिक्चर चलेगी. Irrespective of budget, irrespective of star cast.
What do you mean by commercial? Is that not being redefined?
Sir, last year 218 films were released, out of which only 18 films managed to recover their money back. So what were those 200 other films? They were small films only. They were good films. They were critically acclaimed films. They were small budgeted films. They were films which had 3-star, 4-star reviews. Why didn't the audiences turn up for them? The truth is, we are running away from making Hindi cinema. Where are the background songs? Where are the songs which, playback songs, sorry. They've gone in the background. How many songs do you see today where actors are singing them? It is only these handful of stars who are singing them. And that is how music is becoming popular, and that is how music has become popular, and that is how they become bigger stars. A Shah Rukh, a Salman, an Amir, Akshay, Ajay, it will take another 10, 15 good years to even move them from their position. Because the young guys are not following suit. They're getting scared. Nahi yaar, meaningful cinema. There's nothing wrong in meaningful cinema, but it should be entertaining cinema. Like I said, there is no such thing as a good film or a bad film. No such thing as a big film or a small film. I agree with him. It's a good film or a bad film. I enjoyed Hindi medium. I enjoyed Lipstick Under My Burqa. I swear on God, I really did.
No, we believe you. It's not part of such a bad thing.
But here's the catch. मैंने घर पे देखी. I saw them on DVD. That's the difference. बादशाह मैंने जाके थिएटर में देखी.
Did you enjoy it?
We'll discuss that later. But the truth is, everybody is saying, where are we headed? Arey yaar, it's a casino. किसी को कुछ मालूम नहीं. Like I agree, 100% agree with मुकेश जी. नहीं मालूम है क्या चलने वाला, क्या नहीं चलने वाला. It's a casino. Casino में दो लोग जाते हैं दोस्तों. एक जो कल रात को बहुत जीता था, डबल करने जा रहा है, और एक जो कल रात को बहुत हारा था, रिकवर करने जा रहा है. दोनों को नहीं पता दोनों की वाट लगने वाली है. Because the house always wins. So it's a
on this, I'm sorry to interrupt. I would like to tell Sajid that that's I always say to all my friends and colleagues that you can never plan a hit, but you can definitely minimize your losses.
Sure.
Yeah.
You have to make it at the real cost. Cut the flab. But that also comes with experience. With experience, you know what not to do more than what to do. So it's the flab you need to cut and really make films. When the rupee well spent is rupee earned, not saved.
Right. I'm going to come to you, Guneet.
I just want to say that on the other spectrum is also somebody like me जिसने बादशाह थिएटर पर नहीं देखी. जिसने बादशाह थिएटर पर नहीं देखी और inclination भी नहीं है. But Lipstick Under My Burqa मैं तो She Lancer के लिए भी थिएटर में गई थी. You know, there's another spectrum.
Arey Baba, you're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm saying it's easy to say Tube Light, Salman Khan, जब Harry Met Sejal, Shah Rukh Khan. The truth is, let's be honest here. Were these their worst films? Perhaps. Were these their badly made films? Maybe not.
But who decides that, right? I mean, it's an
the audience decides it.
Sure.
Big actors have big flops.
Right.
You know, small actors have big hits. So that always keeps going on. Has it affected Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan's stardom? Not 1%. Their next big film will open equally big or perhaps bigger.
And you're saying that will happen for 15 years?
अरे सचिन तेंदुलकर
68 हो जाएंगे सर.
सचिन तेंदुलकर 10 बार 0 पे आउट हो जाएगा तो क्या 11वीं बार आप उसका मैच देखने नहीं जाओगे? It's that simple.
Right.
कि नहीं आप सचिन तेंदुलकर 0 पे आउट होने वाला नहीं आउट होएगा. ये सचिन तेंदुलकर पहला 4 मारेगा, ऑडियंस विल जंप अप.
बट एक दिन तो सचिन तेंदुलकर रिटायर करेगा ना सर, कि खेलता ही रहेगा 68 तक.
नहीं वो उसके ऊपर वो तो ऑडियंस पे डिपेंड करता है ना.
Right.
Audience पे डिपेंड करता है.
Okay, I'm going to come to you, Guneet, because that's an important one. You're not in the casino, as it were. You're not in the business of either doubling or having lost too much. There was a time when all the films that ever went to festivals or the festival circuit, as it were usually regional cinema. I think you were one of the first people sitting here in Bombay to have spearheaded a certain movement where we can see a film premiering at Cannes, and quite a few of them of yours actually on a yearly basis. Do you think we've reached a point where there can be a market, even if it's a small one, for Indian films to be watched at least in the art house circuit abroad and not just the ones that we catch here?
You know, समय बदल गया है, समय बदलता रहा है. So the times have changed. Even the art house circuit, those territory-wise conversations have been impacted by Amazon and Netflix. I mean, I'm very excited when I took Kaka Motai to Toronto, not something that I produced, but I saw and it was amazing, and it is a Tamil film, children Tamil film, and introduced it to Toronto. Fox picked it up, and it's one of their top high ROI movies from what the business that it did. So in my world, I wanted to say to Sajid that it is of course ROI.
He's talking to you, yeah.
Sorry.
Of course.
We were discussing ticket rates, sorry.
And in my world, of course, it's ROI driven, you know. What is the ROI? मतलब कुछ इतना high भी नहीं, इतना low भी नहीं है. It is moving towards the plus. But again, just now, we worked on Visarnai. It went to Venice, picked up an award there, made its money, then became India's entry to the Oscars. Right now, film called Ajji, which is going to Busan. Even if you get like a, right now the situation is that even if you get a Korea release offer, an independent offer, but then you get Amazon or Netflix writing off a worldwide territory deal.
Right.
So the world has evolved to that. So what is happening is कि बहुत सारी फिल्में बन रही हैं, but festivals are good at identifying good content and stamping कि चलो ये good cinema है. There is some sort of selection.
And some of the biggest to work here as well.
And
those
at least
people-
those films
Right.
are then being picked up at a higher dollar price by Netflix, Amazon. Even they are standardizing. You know, they're
Right.
not throwing money at everybody.
Right, right.
So not
And then there is a film like Dangal that goes to China, and I want both of you to comment on it because you worked on the film. It goes to China and does a business of, if I'm not mistaken, 1,200 crore. And that also because it has a cap on how much you can make and how many weeks you can run. That's a bizarrely new market, right? Any of you expected it? What's the story behind Amir Khan being the big star in China? How did that happen?
So can I tell you that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I somewhere feel, because I've been lately a couple of times going more frequently to China for reasons. But I'm saying there, you know what, the phenomenon is that you have got first the number of theatres. Yeah,
Sure.
you got 50,000 theatres there
They
compared to
have
our
new-
8,000.
they have 15
and
new screens every day coming
also there is very little restriction on the entertainment quotient for the audiences. So there are limited number of films which are released, whether it's from India or from Hollywood or their own local industry. So the nation is starved for entertainment.
Sure.
And the nation is rich today. They have money in their pockets. And now they have the windows too, for them to go and spend and experience cinema hall. So it's that. India can definitely compete, provided you have the windows. You don't have the windows. The pirates, I see my driver or my watchman downstairs seeing the Friday film, Saturday
your movie only
on the
he's
phone.
watching?
Yeah, he's watching it. He's watching right under my nose, and there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do about it.
पगार मत दो.
So, अरे नहीं साहब वो चले जाएगा और किधर?
No, but I mean,
driving आती नहीं. But what is important is that we need to tell our ministers to help us first take out this license, Raj, what you rightly said. That they require 127 licenses to open a cinema hall. You know, even if an investor wants to come and invest, he gets the thought of dealing with the babus is so tiring that you give up the idea.
Right.
So you have to facilitate. China, the government facilitated it. The 5% entertainment tax, which they take, 5% only. And that money is not going into irrigation or some other department. That goes back to the building of cinema halls.
Right.
For the industry from where they want the revenue. So you need that. See, what I'm talking about a mindset to change, whether it's in the production, distribution, exhibition, and above all, the government of India. They are charging GST, right? They're going to make money on tickets. They're going to make money on tickets. Sorry, I'm going a little...
no, because we don't have a government.
But what I mean to say, no, you have to say. On platforms like this, if you don't
We'll
say...
send the video to someone.
If you on platforms like this, you don't say the video, you say.
Fair enough.
You need to tell them that, listen, partner with us, stop the pirate from making money, let us open more windows for people to go and sit there, because GST, you'll get money.
Right.
So you also will grow with us. You don't allow us to grow. By the day when you're talking, very soon this platform will not be there because cinema halls are shutting by the day. Every month, 16 cinema halls are opening in China and 16 are shutting in India. What are we talking about? The country has the same number of people living in that country and this country. The business is 5 times more. 5 years back, it was one third of India. Now it is 5 times more. Why?
Don't ask me, sir. I don't know.
Simple. No, there's no simple calculation. There are more cinema halls there.
Sure.
I think just to also say, Mukeshji over here, is that what was amazing, I felt, outside of what you're saying, is that, in India, I think the multiple, Sid, you'll know, and Sajid, actually, maybe you'll know the number. The opening day of Dangal in India into the final lifetime box office was, I think, a multiple of 6. And in China, guess what it was? Opening day to lifetime was 60. So what the opening day was into 60 is what the film ended at. So I think that sort of tells you that not only did the film open well, it just went crazy. So second weekend was higher than first weekend. And for us, that happens on just smaller films, you know, like on one of the smaller movies.
Called word of mouth, right.
Yeah. But imagine it's not just the screens, it's also the habit. Like and I think one thing I want to say to Alok's rescue about what can we do for you is the windowing, because our films are coming on television and, you know, on internet so soon that the consumer, and I know these people, friends of mine, they don't want to go to the theater because they know that TV pe to aa jayegi, Netflix pe aa jayegi, 3 hafte mein aa jayegi, and you know, stuff like that. So I think the theater going habit, if we only don't encourage.
One sec. It's not about television or internet. It's about the same day downloads.
But you know, Sajid, we are advertising it that it's coming on so-and-so channel.
How many of y'all over here don't download?
I don't download.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 25.
How many of you are lying?
30 झूठे लोग बैठे हैं यहाँ पे. 30 liars. Everybody downloads. But that's the sad part.
But we shouldn't do it I mean, at least we should give a theatrical window a chance, no? If we don't even give it that window.
No, I agree with Mukeshji. Everything is that the government must take steps to stop it. You know, if piracy is stopped, automatically sales will go up. We'll not have this seminar again.
But you know, it's a combination of two things. One is, sure, we have to work on stopping piracy, but we've got to also, as producers, be careful that we don't decimate the theatrical window, because what's happening right now is that we're actually allowing some movies to be seen on digital pretty much a few weeks from the time that they're in theaters. And that is changing the movie-going habit. It is. I mean, whether we like it or not. And I completely agree with you. We might, you know, very well say, if you can't beat them, join them. It's available on pirated format anyway. But I just think that we, being the owners of the IP, should at least keep the sanctity of that window, because then how will we go out and fight piracy if we don't do that ourselves? I think that's very important.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. But again, the catch-22, what said, I completely endorse what both of them are saying, that we should have a bigger window, because that's the way forward. Because everybody, you have to juice out every window. The theatrical business has to be juiced out to its optimum, then go to the T ward, then you go to the S ward. That's the way the international business is happening. But the fact is here, you see, also there's a problem, Alok, which I don't know, you should know better. Also the problem is that the cinema windows is shut within 2 weeks. Your third week, however good you are, I faced this problem with Ashiki too, said, if you remember, I was talking to you also at that time. The picture became a runaway hit, and the second, third and fourth week also was getting in the numbers. And one fine day, Adil Sadani called me up, he was my distributor, and he told me that he was facing a problem in Maharashtra because some Marathi film was coming, and the local political, I don't want to take names, political party was putting the pressure on the distributor and the exhibitors to take this movie out because they wanted space for the Marathi film. And I would not say that they were wrong, they were right, because, you know, Marathi film needs to exist.
Right.
So, because, so what did my film, so there's a problem, there's a shortage. You see, this country has got so many regional languages, it's got a national Indian Hindi language, plus there are English films which are coming every week. There's no kind of embargo like in China. Any film, any number of films can come here. Forget come here in English, but they are dubbed in various languages also. So tell me, where do you stand? It is such a clogged up scenario that you are, before you can even think of breathing. And you know that word of mouth publicity, एक film grow होती है, Tuesday को pick up होती है. Tuesday क्या है? Sunday को if you don't show the numbers on a Friday, Saturday, you are discontinued by the multiplexes. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I slightly
You're
beg to differ on
discontinued.
this.
So how do you grow? There was a all-time blockbuster. I remember when I started my career, a film called Do Raaste made by Raj Khosla.
Right.
On a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it was like you're going for some chautha ceremony of some person.
That's surely also right?
That film, I remember I was there, I was a young assistant, was working under Raj Khosla films, me and my brother both, and we had gone there to the owner, Mr. Girivar Singh of Opera House. Opera House was the cinema mentor. And he said that, telling us, we were young kids that time, कि जाके देखो Roxy Cinema, which was close by, there Aradhna was running, which released 4 weeks before that. And that had become a smash hit. जाके उनसे जाके सीखो फिल्में कैसे बनती है. This was the line. said on a Saturday night, Saturday evening show when the Rudolph halls were empty, practically 10% collections, and Sunday also went the same way. Something happened on Tuesday, I don't know what. From Tuesday onwards, the Houseful board came in, and that Houseful board did not go out for 35 weeks after that. It was a runaway hit. There was a Golden Jubilee party celebrated. So what happened is that when the film did not open, but it gave the breathing space for the word of mouth to go and all that, and so for the film to grow. There was a film called Gangster I had made with Anurag Basu, which grew. The second week collection was better than the first week. Third week was better than second week. But then in the second and third week, I was getting 35% share, though the picture was going houseful, and the exhibitor was taking the land share. So there is some, there's something.
I will have to take that,
done.
obviously.
Okay, a couple of
There's
things.
something has to be. No, see, listen, I'm not doing any blame game. Hello.
No, if I have to speak up, you don't have to blame me.
That something
Let me say something.
Something is not right.
When I have to say this, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mukesh Bhatt show. Thank you so much.
We need to give a breather.
Mr. Bhatt,
he makes a great film. He makes a great film. Before he can prove it, you remove it.
Mr. Bhatt, I think you'll have to take this to Sun Sand after this. I think Alok needs to answer.
Sorry, I'm too blunt for people's liking. Genetic problem, I would say.
Well, okay, a couple of things, and this is not a debate going on where I...
No, but it's a valid point he's raising, though, the fact that even before we get to know about a film, it's out of the theatres.
Mayank, what Mr. Bhatt said just now, we are giving breathing space to movies. That's why we have movies like Purna. We have got movies like Lipstick Under My Burqa, Masan doing well. We have Hindi medium doing fantastically well. It just grew. It didn't do very well in the first couple of days, but it just grew, and we had to... It came out of the cinemas only when it came on an alternate platform.
But I think what he's trying to say is that what used to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what you've done to it is 1 day or 2 days. It might take a while for the word of mouth to actually
Again, please, it's not multiplexes who have done this. Look at the amount of quality or the quantity of movies which is being churned out today. Last year, India released about 1,600 titles. 1,600 titles were released in India across all languages. We have at least 10 to 15 titles released, which are released every Friday. What's the average number of screens in a multiplex? 4. How many shows a day I can show? Maximum 5 to 5.5. I can show not more than 22 shows a day in a 4-screener multiplex. I've got 15 movies, 15 titles releasing in a particular week. How do we give shows to every movie? And there are movies which are continuing from the previous week also, which are doing well. There are movies which I can, Bhatt Sahab jo keh rahe hain that everybody should change the mindset. I say yes, but also I say that whether it's the producer, the distributor, or the exhibitor, he has to make money for his own company. Nobody is doing work for charity over here and saying that my picture banata hu, I don't want any returns to come. No, I'm sorry. If anybody says that, he's lying through his teeth. Today, so I as an exhibitor, and I'm talking as an exhibitor, we have to take care of the movies which are running and doing well. We have to take care of movies which are being released in that particular week. And also, we have to see which movies are coming in the future and give good, and I'm using the word good showcasing to all the movies. Yes, there are movies, if it's a big star cast movie is coming, naturally, and I'm using the word naturally because it's a function of supply and demand. People would like to see that movie. Hence, we as exhibitors have to give more shows to that movie. But having said that, if there's a small film which grows, we increase our shows in the second week, third week, and fourth week, and there are examples for that. So hence, anybody just putting a blanket statement and saying that exhibitors don't give great showcasing to small movies, I think so that's not right. Small movies have become big because of good showcasing, because of shows being increased, because of good timings being given. See, everybody talks about prime time, but what is prime time? 6 to 9, and that's how many shows can you accommodate in that particular time? So we all have to work together. People have to understand that the pressure is on exhibitors also to give showcasing and earn money as much as it is on distributors and producers.
Right,
so,
okay.
Absolutely. I don't want flies inside my auditorium. I need bums on seats.
Sure.
That's important.
I just have one thing to add to that, Mayank. Just the perspective of how things have changed is that today when you compare it to the past, the number of screens available, one is that we bemoan the lack of screens. But then you look at the uneven saturation of the screens across the country also. On Link Road, you've got more screens than you have in the state of Bihar. On Link Road here
Is that true?
in Bombay, yeah.
Seriously?
So the point is, now if you flood, the point is that if as a producer distributor, you're flooding screens with your movie, the occupancy in each of the screens that it's releasing in, because they're so close to each other, is going to be low.
Right.
So the exhibitor's taking that call. But in Bihar, you're not being able to screen your movie that much anyway because there are hardly any screens. So the problem is Bombay and Delhi still accounting for, in a country like India, more than 55-60% of the box office is a ridiculous position to be in. The fact that that's still the case after 100 years of cinema is sad in a movie-obsessed nation. So the problem is both the saturation as well as the uneven distribution of the screens in the country.
Sure. I started this discussion with Bahubali and how I felt, and a lot of people feel within the film industry as well, that was a knock on Bollywood. The fact that a movie could come from Hyderabad and do this, and that the entire film industry here, sitting here, making these big budget movies, could not think of it. I want to end this with, of course, Dangal, which is a movie that goes, I don't want both of you to weigh in, unless Mr. Bhatt butts in. I think this needs to be about Dangal. What is the success story behind Dangal? What made it so huge? What made Aamir Khan so huge? I understand that China is entertainment star, but it's been entertainment star for a while. What about this particular film? What about the past couple of films of Aamir to hit a number like 1,200 crore in a country like China? Take us through the story.
I think, one more thing that I forgot to say. I think the fact that, the way daughters are treated, in some parts, in some families in India is also similar to how sometimes they're treated all over Asia. And I've had many, many friends, many distributors, many colleagues tell me that I think that resonated really, really well. Wrestling is not even a sport that is big in China, to be honest. I think the father-daughter situation, and there are many ways of looking at it that, finally her father is helping her win and so on and so forth. I think that the father-daughter emotion, the fact that, I feel it was an empowerment film. And I think that meant a lot to the audience there, and a lot of people we've spoken to said that. And I think that's the single biggest reason for the film to have resonated that well.
Would you agree?
I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree with that. I think it was an interesting confluence of two things. One is the resonating with the structure of the family, the way that fathers and daughters interact with each other, the traditional culture, etc. One. But two is that audience realizing that actually we're not so different from something we thought was so different from us. Because what they've heard of India, what they are fed in the way that, like sort of Chinese propaganda works also, is very similar to maybe what we hear about Pakistan, what we hear about places that we're not supposed to hear good things about, or we're supposed to think is very different from us. But for them to see that a family there is so similar to a family here, but actually they're in a different milieu altogether, and that humanity is the same, I think that really touched a chord there.
Well, my theory is, and correct me please if I'm wrong, is the way the sports system works in China, and the state actually takes away kids to train them to become Olympians and, of course, Olympic gold medalists. It's very similar in the sense it's just the father who does it to get the medal. Did you get that response from any Chinese person, or am I sitting here imagining it here in Bombay?
Not really, no. No, honestly not. Because
what about Aamir Khan though? What about Aamir Khan?
No, I think Aamir's been able to establish a brand there of this Indian actor who brings you great cinema.
Right.
So I think with the piracy around Three Idiots, because I don't think it was really officially released there, but the pirated version did spectacular business. And the education system in China and India is very similar, where the amount of pressure on kids to perform.
It did release in China though. It did release.
I think after many months.
After many months, but a lot of people had already seen it.
Right.
And then PK did really well there, and that took on religion and God again, which are sort of touch points in China, which are very sort of relatable. And then to talk about the father-daughter relationship. So I think he's built a brand there of an Indian actor who brings you great cinema and stuff you can relate to.
Super. And I think that says a lot about the branding of Bollywood per se, or the branding of Bombay films, as it were, and Indian cinema, guys, of course. Any questions from the audience? Yeah. Do we have a mic? See, those are quite a few bums on seats, huh? Hello?
Absolutely, we need them.
Yeah.
We need them from a Monday morning to Thursday evening.
Fair enough.
Friday, Saturday is done.
Hello, sir. My question is that there are young filmmakers who have brilliant scripts, great concepts, but then when it comes to shooting the film, they don't have finance. And when they approach reputed production houses, their scripts are rejected. And then those same production houses go ahead and produce great movies like Happy New Year, Dilwale, and all that. So my question is that somewhere the production houses and producers
Beta. Happy New Year and Dilwale are very profitable films, if you are saying. तुझे अच्छी नहीं लगी इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि पिक्चर फ्लॉप हुई, याद रखना. और जो तू बोल रहा है कि great films है, तो who are you to decide that they are great? You've written it, obviously you'll call it great. सबको अपना बच्चा अच्छा लगता है. When I made Hamshakad, I thought it's the best film in the world. Think logically.
But then
same studios go and make Happy New Year. I will not hear a word about Happy New Year. It had done 400 crores in the world, worldwide business. So how do you explain that? It rates #1 on TV. How do you explain that? Explain that.
But if chances...
That means people want to see it, no? It will not play back on TV otherwise.
But if chances are only not given to young films, how are you
seeing
decide
chances?
that the film is a great or
Mukesh
not?
ji sitting over here, every year he gives chances to new actors, new musicians, new directors. What are you talking? Meet him.
Okay, guys, exchange numbers.
I just want to say
Actually, Sajid answered
I
it.
just want to
Hello.
say, I just want to
Actually,
say,
Sajid answered your question. If you have got a story which is really good, which you feel is really good, and you need a platform to make it, please come to me.
Yeah.
My doors are open to you.
There you go.
no, and I also want to say,
I am committed to this. I'm always on the lookout for a hungry, passionate, young Mahesh Bhatt, Mukesh Bhatt on the streets.
And he's done it, all his life he's done it. But, sir, what if you don't like a story, then what happens?
Then I'll tell you so.
Then what will you go outside and say?
Then you have to accept it and then go ahead and just rethink yourself.
मेहनत करनी पड़ती है ना यार, ऐसा इतना जल्दी किसी को diss off मत
and I
करो.
wanted to add to here 2 things. One, I have been in a journey of producing around 16 first-time filmmaker films. And also, I want to add further that there is a very reputed company called Saregama, which has started a fund for 100 films, which are all independent films. They've made their first 8. The first one is going to Busan. So there are lots of people doing it, and now is the time with the digital outlets. Now is actually the time, the best time for people to get out there and prove their mettle.
Yeah, the back there.
So,
Oh, back where? Yeah, there.
A genre, horror, a low-cost and a high ROI genre world over. Right now, a film called It has released, which cost 35 million to make, and is going to do...
Wrong question, chal. I love the horror genre. I made my debut with an 11-minute horror film. It is an American culture. It is not an Indian culture. Americans love their horror movies. They love their date movies. They're called date movies, you know. They revere horror magician directors like the guy who made all the big horror movies like Wes Craven.
made quite a few horror films and they've been
Sam
successful.
Raimi, you know.
You want to take that?
But Sajid,
Yeah.
Bhatt Saab sitting
Bhatt Saab,
next to you
yeah.
has made phenomenal horror films. Raz and the Raz series, and they have done phenomenal business across India.
Why
so
you not
why
making
is
them anymore,
Bollywood
sir?
not making horror films anymore? Even I'm asking.
See, I have made already for 4 franchise films with Raz thing, and they were very successful for me. And as far as Burden, I made 3. And whenever I get a script which fits, I will not go and make a Murder 4 just because I have to make a Murder 4. I have to get a cinema noir genre script which fits the flavor of the Murder franchise for me to give it that tag. So it has to come organically. I cannot just plan it just because I have to do it. Now, for example, I'm making a film now called Sadak 2. And that's after 25 years of Sadak 1. Sadak was a cult film in its time. But that Sadak 2 is not because I want to make Sadak 2. It's because I'm taking the story of that character of Ravi, which was played by Sanjay Dutt then. Ravi grows up 25 years later. What happens to him? The same character. So there is an organic growth in the story which is leading it to Sadak 2. That's why I'm calling it Sadak 2. Not some any other, because Sadak 1 was a blockbuster and I was capitalized on that title. No, that's not the way one should do movies. So I feel that whether you want to make, for example, Ashiki 1 and 2, the core strength of Ashiki is what? A feel-good love story which has got music in its spine. And music has always been our strength. So the need to make an Ashiki 3 is a demand from the market. It's a franchise which we have created. And fortunately, the franchise which we have created does not lean on the so-called star system. Ashiki 1 and 2 became what they became with newcomers. And that is what we intend to take things forward.
Yeah.
So, but it has to fall in that genre in an organic way. You can't, slot it and fix it. That fixing job will not work.
One more thing I'll say about horror is what actually Vishesh Films did was they did not take an American template of horror and adapt it to India.
Right.
They added great music, they added other elements to Indianize it in a way that worked.
Right.
So I think that concept of a horror genre, if you take that American template and apply it in...
It was a Vishesh horror film.
Yeah.
That's really what it was, right.
See, for example, very, very lightly said, I go back and think about it. I remember I was talking to Bhatt Sahab when we made Raz 1. How Raz 1 happened. I told him I happened to see Wo Kaun Thi and 20 Saal Baad after a long time. I don't know where I saw it. And I just happened to tell him, because he is the creative fountainhead of the company. I told him, Bhatt Sahab, एक ज़माने में बनती थी, एक कोहरा बनती थी, 20 साल बाद, वो कौन थी, मेरा साया, Mahal, the all-time hit Mahal. Great music, but dealing with the horror, supernatural kind of this. But that time the Dolby and Stereophonic had just come in sound. I said, let's create this kind of genre which has not been done for quite some time. Bollywood had gone away from that genre, I said, let's bring back that with great music, because music has always been our strength. And when Raz 1 came, it had one of the finest music of Nadeem Shravan. And I remember that at 6 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from my CP Bara distributor from Raipur, panicking and calling me up. My wife woke me up. I thought the print has not reached there because it was 2nd of February, and it was foggy. The trains were not gone. So I said, print nahi pochi kya? Instant. Then I went on the phone and he was hysterical and saying, sir, houseful hai, houseful hai, और बाहर 400 आदमी खड़े हैं और temperature 2 degree है. So for a moment I thought he's drunk. How can he talk 6 o'clock in the morning with Dino Mori and Bipasha Basu newcomers? How can it be full? That was the power of music. And the Deshi horror, what he rightly said, which Raz had, where you talk about the Nibu, which he talks about, Bhoot Pret. So हमारे हिंदुस्तान में वो नीबू का रंग बदलना and all that. So it had the very Indian story integrated with great music. So it works simple as that.
Well, there are various things I've learned from this panel discussion, and one of the most significant things is that, Mr. Bhatt, you call your brother Bhatt Sahab.
We spend more time in office than at home.
Right.
So it's become a habit. Everybody calls him Bhatt Sahab. So it's become a habit. Even my children actually, they Tauji, but at home they call him Tauji.
Right.
But in the office, automatically Bhatt Sahab comes. So that's the...
Question, please. Okay, one last question because our next guest is also waiting, and we will need some gap between two sessions.
My question is to Mr. Siddharth Kapoor, Bhatt Sahab, Mr. Sajid, Gunit, not for Disney because they are quite clever enough. It may sound foolish, but Dolby came up with a stereo.
थोड़ा सा loud.
हाँ, Dolby came up with stereo, फिर उसके बाद 5.1 आया, 7.1 आया, फिर उसके बाद क्या? 10.1, 11.1. They came up with Atmos. Now I want to ask you, you are making films now. What is the source of preservation? 25 साल के बाद आपकी फिल्म कहाँ रहेगी? क्योंकि अभी 4K आएगा, तो from 2K, how are you going to transfer it on to 4K? शायद 10 साल के बाद 8K आएगा. तो today what films you are making it on digital format in 2K? 5 साल के बाद उसका फ्यूचर क्या है? 4K में कैसा करोगे आप कन्वर्ट? 10 साल के बाद अगर 8K आया तो आप 2K का आपकी फिल्म कैसे कन्वर्ट करोगे? तो मेरा ये सवाल है कि आज भी
सर
एक मिनट मैं मेरे कंप्लीट करने दीजिए.
मैं खत्म कर देता हूँ ना आपका सवाल.
नहीं
भगा देगा.
नहीं मुझे प्लीज कंप्लीट करने
आप दूसरा गैस भाग जाएगा.
नहीं तो आपको ये है कि हॉलीवुड में 10 फिल्म मेकर्स आर मेकिंग ऑन फिल्म फॉर्मेट टुडे. तो हम
आई थिंक योर क्वेश्चन इज कि आप प्रिजर्व कैसे कर रहे हैं जो आपने फिल्में बनाई है. इज दैट योर क्वेश्चन?
नहीं सर, फिल्म फॉर्मेट पे नहीं शूट होता है सर, सब डिजिटल पे शूट होता है.
नहीं फिल्म फॉर्म में पे इंडिया में भी हमारे 2-3 डायरेक्टर अभी भी शूट करते हैं फिल्म।
वो ठीक है सर, मतलब we've had this discussion earlier in the day which is about how
जो
film is
फोटो
gone.
खींचते हो अभी आप डेवलप करने को देते हो कहीं पे नहीं ना?
नहीं बट
बस खत्म बात ना सर।
No,
Everything is
Okay,
become
one
digital,
quick
sir.
last question before we wrap up. The lady there, please. Louder. Do you need a mic?
सर सब कुछ डिजिटल हो गया सर।
Hello everyone. I've just graduated out of film school as a writer and a director.
You have to speak louder.
I'm so sorry. I've just graduated out of film school as a writer and a director, and Mr. Mahesh Bhatt was there at our film school, and he was extremely keen on seeing the film that I made, which was also selected as the finest one in its category. It's a 10-minute film, silent film, but now like when I'm thinking of writing a 2.5-hour film, so like how would I mean, I mean, how do I find a producer, like to directly step into production houses or with a script?
See, I'll tell you a very interesting thing for my life. So, any reference point I have is for my own life itself. I remember, I'm talking about 1983 when, 83, yeah. My brother Mahesh Bhatt had gone to NFDC. That time NFDC used to be very proactive in terms of supporting films which are supposed to be the alternate kind of cinema. And he had a script which he had written, and he had a fire in his belly wanting to make that film, which he believed in, like how you must be having something, I'm sure. And he went to the NFDC office, and he was sitting in that office in Worli. And 2 hours he was sitting there. Mr. Ravi Malik used to be that time the chief of NFDC. He was quite a big shot that time, powerful man. And he was sitting inside and having a meeting with Mr. Shyam Benegal. Mr. Benegal was a very successful, he had made Ankur and all those films, so he had made a mark for himself in those kind of cinema. And for 2 hours, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt was sitting outside, and he got frustrated, waiting, because he was given a time of 2 o'clock, and till 4:15 nothing was happening, and nobody was even telling how much more time it's going to take. So he, being a young boy, impatient, got up, got out, walked down, took a bus back. That time he was staying in Shivaji Park, so from Worli he was coming down. On the way, he was passing Prabhadevi, and he looked out of the bus window. He saw the board of Rashri Productions. He got down from the bus. What came inside him? I never asked him. But he went there. He went up there. Fortunately, when he went up there in the lobby, as luck could have it, Mr. Rajkumar Barjatia was there in the lobby talking to some people, the reception counter. And he went there and he said that I'm Mahesh Bhatt, I've got a story which I need to tell. And something which Raj Babu saw him, which I asked Raj Babu also, what did you see in him? He said, I don't know, when I saw his face, I felt that this man had hunger, passion, and he was angry when he said, I have got a story. And somebody said, okay, come tomorrow, we'll hear it. And it so happened that he went next day, he heard it till the interval. And Mr. Tarjan Barjatia at that time was alive. He said, stop, I don't want to hear it further. So my brother thought that this film will not be made. It was a film called Saransh. It was made. It will not be made because midway the Tarjan Barjatia said, stop, I don't want to hear it further. And then he said, why I'm telling you stop? He saw my brother's face dropping. He said, beta, एक reason है क्योंकि जिस तरीके से तुमने मुझे सुनाया है, तुमने जो सुनाया ने मुझे film दिखाई है. Please go and make this film. And he told everybody, allow him to make the film the way he wants to make it, don't interfere. And that's how Saransh was made.
Sir, I just want to add to that.
Discussions, some lovely stories, some career counseling also. But this is absolutely great. Thank you very much all of you joining us. Cheers.